Okay, I've got about 90% of the roof and the quarters blocked out. Everything from the A pillars all the way back to the C pillar is good. And I've got this quarter panel blocked. It's completely sanded. Still need to do a little bit of Scotch-Brite around the edges just to make sure that's good. Gonna have to clean up this back panel just a little bit. I don't think I need to prime it. Probably just gonna seal it with the rest of it. And all I've got left on this side is the area over the wheel arch here, down the dog leg, inside the body line, and then across the top of the quarter where it meets the trunk lid and this back edge. And after I get that sanded, I'll go back and I'll work on that bottom panel. This needs to be shot with it all the way along here. There is a seam here, but I don't want to put a tape line in it there when I do the trunk. So I want that to be solid, just in one shot. So that's going to have, including the hood, that's going to have almost half the car finished. So I'll get the A pillars, the roof, both quarters, all the way around the back will be done. So that'll just leave the 3 panels on this side, the 3 on the other side, and I'll do those at the same time, just go back and forth. And what I'll probably do after that is paint the trunk lid and maybe one of the bumpers or some of the other trim in here with it. But I don't want to try to spray the trunk lid with the roof and the quarters, because then I'll have to keep 2 wet edges going. I'll have to come up from this way with a wet edge, and then travel halfway across here, and then come up, go across this way, come back to the trunk, and then back and forth, so I can keep it all wet. And that'll be way too much overspray for my garage here anyway. So I'll do that with something else back here behind the car. But I'll be back when I have this masked off. I'm going to finish sanding this side over here, these spots, and down here. And once I get that sanded out, I'll need to wipe everything down really well so my tape will stick. Then I'll go back in here and I'll start masking all around the glass with tape. And probably going to do the sunroof. I may do that with the trunk lid. I'm going to do that separate from the roof. But I need to mask this off in here, around the back glass, and then everywhere else at the door jamb and then the trunk jamb. Get it bagged and it'll be ready to go. And I'll get some sealer on this. I'm going to seal it just like I did the hood. Alright, this is about 99% there as far as ready to paint. I still need to get in here a little bit behind this fender a little bit better. I just went ahead and cleaned out these channels here on the outside on both sides of it. Everything sanded. I actually decided to go on into the trunk jamb since I've got to paint this back panel with it. The trunk shuts all the way down basically to this peak here, so I can't get to any of this with the trunk on it. So I went ahead and took the trunk lid off, that way I can get all the way into here. And while I'm at it, I might as well do in here since I've got to paint this part of the jamb. I'm just going to go ahead and paint all the way up to this body seam here. I'll tape it off in here. I'm not going to go all the way across into here, but I'll tape it right in here where there's a seam in it, come down into this ditch, and tape it along this inside corner. So I'll just spray the jamb all the way inside while I've got the lid off. And this will have about half the car painted once I get this done. I've got about 5 or 6 hours in hand blocking all this. I've still got to run the DA over it to get the straight line scratches out. But once I do that, I'll get the masking on it. I'm going to paint the fuel filler door later on with some other parts. I'm not worried about it matching. I'm just going to do the same thing I do to this, to the fuel filler, or the fuel door lid. I'll be back when I got this masked off. Get this thing ready to paint here in a minute. Alright, we're ready to go here. Gonna run over the bare metal. I've got just a few cut throughs like in here. Run over that with Scotch-Brite pad. I'm actually gonna run over the whole surface with one with a gray pad just to get anything off that might have stuck to it while it's been sitting here for 2 or 3 days. And I go all the way around the back. Same thing on this side. All the way down. I'm just going to go around and look for bare metal. I know I've got several places, mostly on these edges, these peak lines, spot right there. You can get this in a Value Shade 2 sealer. And for right now, the plan's going to be, since I've got two two areas where the body is connected through the roof and through the back. I'm going to start the sealer at the bottom, essentially the color and the clear too. Start the sealer here, cover the dog leg, come all the way back, just paint in an upward direction here, come all the way up to the pillar, and then add a little bit here to keep that edge wet. I'm going to bring it all the way down the A-pillar, halfway across the roof, and I'll come back and I'm going to extend that wet edge over into here somewhere, and then go into the jamb. Then I'll come over here and pull this wet edge from the roof all the way over and down the A-pillar, down the C-pillar, about halfway. Then I'll continue to bring this wet edge over into here somewhere, not quite all the way around yet, but right in here. Then I'll bring this paint down, or the sealer down this way, cover this side. Then I'll hit the jamb so that I'm not spraying over any overspray on the outside. I'll do that after I get the outside wet. Come down in here and then run this over and connect it into the wet edge. It's over here. Just come around the edge with the sealer. At least that's the way I see it going. I may change that on the fly depending on how it lays out, but I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing scuffed and cleaned real well, and I'll be back in a second for the sealer. Here we go. Looks pretty good. Be back for the base in just a few minutes. Alright, it's been sitting for about 45 minutes. I'm ready to do the base now. It's all mixed up. We'll go ahead and tack everything off one more time, and I'll get ready to shoot the red.
Alright, one more coat and I'll be back for the clear.
Alright, this is about 10 minutes off the gun. I gotta keep my mask on, I still smell it. Just walk you around here.
Little chunk of dust right there. Plane that down. Came out nice and wet. I don't see any runs anywhere yet. Don't think there will be any. They would have been there by now. Alright, I gotta let this sit for probably another hour, and then I'll pull all the masking off, get the wheels back on it where I can move it over. Got another small job outside I need to get done. Just a fender flare, I think it needs to be repainted. No big deal there. Just need to get some primer on it if I need to get it primed. It's just raw plastic. Paint came off of, so I might be able to blow all the paint off of it and not have to prime it, but as soon as I get this out, I need to start on that. So that'll give it some time to set up before I get back on it anyway. I gotta let it sit for a while before I can put some tape on it to do the doors and fenders, so give it probably another week, harden up, and I'll probably remount the trunk just to get it off the floor and get it back on the car out of the way. See you later.